C'est ce que c'est ce que c'est ce que tu savais, et tu remontes mon Dennis Smart, mon king Fenge, au Sari Maribo. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Oh, c'est ce coup, je sais pas où rapper. Dans ton trap, grand ago. Mukuba, Mate, Mechi, Pita, Eno, ancien Treva, Rogbeno, Murukwa, Aquaticaba, Eyon Atem, Rogbeno, Aquaticaba, Arremoni, Rogbeno, Tonkabatam, Aquaticaba, Etigenen Supadi, Rogbeno, Murukwa,
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to News Talk with yours truly, Chris Anu, coming to you as usual from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas, to be precise. I come to you today with a very, very special broadcast in which I titled The Debate, The Great Debate. And that debate has to do with whether you would support a majorization or the majorization of Paul Biya by Donald Trump or any stronger power in that place. It's a debate. I want to feel your participation and thank you for joining the show tonight. Do me the favor, go ahead and hit your share button. If you are watching by way of Facebook, if by YouTube, do me the same favor, hit the like and the share and subscribe button so that every time we are live, you are one of those to get the notification first. Thank you for tuning in. This promises to be very, very exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that share button and the like and subscribe button as I come back to you in less than a minute.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level.
All right, thank you for staying put, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I come to you with very, very exciting, educative, and informative broadcasts as usual. Please do me the favor, if you are watching by way of YouTube, hit the like and the subscribe button. That will enable that every time we are live, ABS is live. As of now, you are one of those to get the notifications so that you are able to join the broadcast live and participate. Tonight, I come to you with a very critical question. Would you support Paul Biya to be martyrized by Donald Trump or any stronger power in that matter? Before I take you into that subject tonight, into that debate, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring you these other stories. One coming from Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, where we got a report, we got some inside report, a breaking story to the effect that just within September and December, the Cameroon army lost 53 soldiers to Ambazonia fighters. I will bring you that story. Also, I will take you to Washington, D.C. and Ghana, where the former finance minister of Ghana was arrested in the United States on Wednesday. And he was arrested for immigration reasons. However, the Ghanaian government had long been looking for him. And now that the U.S. has arrested him, the question is whether the U.S. will extradite him back to Ghana to answer corruption charges. And after these two stories, I will take you to the main subject of the day, which is the debate. Would you support Paul Biya being taken out by a stronger power or by Donald Trump, just as it happened to Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro? That would be the main subject of the day, ladies and gentlemen. But let me start with Cameroon, the southern Cameroons in particular, coming to you live, ladies and gentlemen. A few minutes ago, I got a source in Yaoundé who revealed some very, very interesting news or development to me, to the effect that between 4 months, that is, between September and December, the Cameroon army lost 53 soldiers. The Cameroon army lost 53 soldiers within 4 months. And what does this mean? What does this mean? I will bring you that story. Let me see. I can bring you that story. And this is the story. Cameroon's security establishment is weighing a renewed push for peace talks with Amazonian independence leaders after fresh battlefield losses. According to a source inside Cameroon's administration who spoke today to ABS, the source said Cameroon's army has lost more than 53 soldiers, between September and December, with 10 of those deaths happening in Fako County in attacks attributed to Fako Unity warriors. And most of the remaining fatalities were recorded across Bui County, Ngo-Ketunjia, Boyo, and Mezam counties. ABS could not immediately or independently verify the figures, and Cameroon's military does not publish comprehensive official casualty tally, as you know. Still, the pattern described by the ABS source aligns with publicly reported incidents showing that the conflict in Amazonia remains very active, and this is very much clear within authority sources in Yaoundé. In early September, a roadside bomb attack near Malende in Moyoka subdivision or Moyoka County local government area killed 7 Cameroonian soldiers, with the Fako Unity warriors publicly claiming responsibility. Cameroon's military never issued a public account of that strike. The ABS source said the continued losses have triggered a serious debate within government circles in Yaoundé about whether the post-election mandate of Paul Biya should shift from a largely military-first posture towards re-engagement with Amazonian factions. The source tied the internal debate that is going on in Yaoundé to the political shockwaves created by the opposition figure Issa Chiroma, whose election rhetoric spotlighted the government's inability to decisively end the war, and in the source telling, exposed what they called an inadequate state response to the conflict's human cause, your human toll on the government in Yaoundé. Analysts have long argued that Yaoundé's insistence that the crisis is contained or effectively over does not match realities on the ground, where armed clashes, kidnappings, lockdowns, and reprisals have continued. If the casualty claims provided to ABS reflect even a portion of the Cameroon authorities, might be reconsidering talks, not as a concession, but as a recalibration under pressure, one driven by troop losses, local insecurity, and the mounting difficulty of selling war, is over messaging to to a security apparatus that is still burying its own death. So that is what is coming up from La République du Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen. Summarily, Cameroon is reconsidering, re-engaging with Amazonian leaders. And the reason is twofold. The reasons are twofold. Number one, the increasing loss of casualties on their side. Between September and December, 53 Cameroon soldiers were killed, according to a source inside the government in Yaoundé. Number two, the rhetoric of Issa Chiroma during the campaign, which exposed the government inability or unwillingness to engage to sincerely engage Amazonian leaders for a settlement. And so going forward, we are hearing the regime in Yaoundé is reconsidering, reenacting another cycle of negotiations. I hope that happens, but whatever happens to the war is over. The war is dying down. That is to tell you, the news you are hearing today is to tell you Amazonian restoration fighters, freedom fighters, they keep on doing a good job. A good job. And those who shout internet government does not hold a state like Cameroon, an established state like Cameroon with money and an army to ransom, as they are now saying. Now we are only hearing the figures. And one thing is sure, my source told me these 53 figures, these are conservative numbers. It could be more. It could be more, he said. So Cameroon realizes there is, or is beginning to realize there is no military solution here. And if they should engage with Amazonian leaders to discuss an end to this conflict, maybe that's what they would have done many years ago. I hope that comes up. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen, on that story. Next, I will take you to Ghana. Where something is happening in Washington, D.C. that could set a precedence as to what happened when other countries asked for the extradition of their nationals who have committed crimes and escaped to the U.S., Europe, or something like that. On Wednesday, the former Ghanaian finance minister was picked up in Washington, D.C., connected to immigration issues. But the man had long been on the wanted list of the Ghanaian government. This is the guy whose face you see here, ladies and gentlemen. Afo Atta is his name. Afo Atta is his name. Former Ghanaian finance minister. The Ghanaian government is accusing him of embezzling over $500 million. $500 million. He served under the former president, Akufo. And so the regime of John Mahama is now has been asking for his extradition, ladies and gentlemen. Has been asking for his extradition back to Ghana. And now that he is in the hands of the U.S. government, the question is whether the U.S. government will extradite him to Ghana. That is what everybody is waiting to see. And so I bring you that story at this moment. Ken Ofori-Atta, Ghana's former finance minister. He was arrested by United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement on January 6. Why in the U.S.? After years of evading arrest by Ghanaian authorities on corruption charges. Afori Atta, who is age 66, is held at the Caroline Immigration Detention Facility in Virginia, where ICE is reviewing the legality of his stay in the United States. His lawyers said in a statement on Wednesday. In their public notice, his legal team said, and I quote, "The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as of yesterday," that is referring to Tuesday, detained the former Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States, and end of quote. The statement added that his U.S. lawyers are in contact with ICE, Immigration and Custom Services. I said they expect the matter to be resolved swiftly. The lawyers described the detention as an administrative review and said he has an active application to adjust his status. He remains law-abiding, they said, and is engaging constructively with U.S. immigration authorities, the lawyers said, expressing confidence the issue would be settled without delay. The detention comes as Ofori Atta faces long-standing legal trouble in Ghana. The current government of President John Dramani Mahama in Ghana has accused Ofori of corruption and financial misconduct during his tenure as finance minister from 2017 to 2024, after he failed to honor multiple summonses for questioning in early 2025. Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor charged him and several associates later that year on numerous counts of alleged corruption to the tune of $500 million. A spokesperson for Ghana's Attorney General's department said in Accra on Thursday that Ghana has formally requested the U.S. government to assist Mr. Ofori Atta's return to Ghana so he can face charges laid against him in Ghana. The official added that Ghana is pursuing appropriate diplomatic and legal channels to secure his extradition. Ghanaian authorities declared Ofori Atta a fugitive in February 2025 after he failed to appear for questioning and subsequently sought an Interpol red notice for his arrest as part of the extradition effort. Neither U.S. immigration officials nor Ghana's government have provided a timeline for how long Ofori Atta could remain in custody or whether he will be transferred to federal criminal custody. His lawyers emphasized that the detention in the U.S. relates strictly to immigration status and not to criminal charges in the United States. If Atta were a U.S. fugitive caught in Ghana, we have no doubt he would be hastily extradited to the United States. The reverse is the case. The reverse is the expectation here. We wait to see if the U.S. will do the same. We will keep a close eye on the developments. And that is the story, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the key point here is, will the U.S. extradite this guy, the guy whose face you find on your screen? Will he be extradited to Ghana? Just imagine this. Currently, he is being held on immigration charges in Virginia. But the Ghanaian government has issued a warrant of extradition for him ever since, even onto Interpol. Now you will imagine that if this guy was a U.S. citizen or a Ghanaian or an African living in Ghana or caught by the Ghanaian government and who is a fugitive of the law in the USA, this guy will be extradited from Ghana to the US in less than no time. Will that happen? Will that happen? Will the US actually turn him over to Ghana? Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important we follow up this case because this man stole, they said, with his associates over $500 million. That money may be in U.S. bank accounts. And if the U.S. preaches justice, this guy should be returned to Ghana to face trial and possibly to return for the Ghanaian people to recover the $500 million he and his associates stole from the taxpayers in Ghana. We look forward to see what will happen. For the moment, let me bring in my panel before we get into the real subject of the day, which is the debate. The debate. Should Trump, Maduro, Paul Biya? That will be the debate. And we have on the panel coming up, we have Pascal Babbitt joining the panel, Mark Barretta joining the panel, Joseph Chakunte also joining the channel, Tabin Yang will be joining the panel and others. So please, this is going to be very, very heated, and we expect to hear from you too. But let me start here with Pascal Babbitt to weigh in on the report coming from Cameroon that right now the Cameroonian government is considering re-engaging Ambazonia in negotiations, considering the fact that within the past 4 months, September to December, Ambazonia restoration fighters killed 53 Cameroon soldiers. Ambazonia restoration fighters killed 53 Cameroon soldiers. Let me get to Pascal and Mark Barretta, who are already here. What do you make of this story, Pascal?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you 515.
Yeah. Greetings to all your audience. It's really, really great meeting you again here, and I'm proud to be here for the sake of history and our time. I encourage every young man to come out there to support you, support my brothers Mark Barretta and the rest who have been fighting for the liberation of the people of Southern Cameroon. This is a very, very noble thing to do, and it is one of the most it's one of the things that you'll be most proud you did in your life, better than the degree you own. So thank you for being here, and I'm so happy to be here with all these men. So in accordance to that, Mr. Chris, you said 53 soldiers have been reported to have been wiped out between what month?
Yes, within September and December.
Between September and December. Listen, this is it's a very good news. It's very good for people to understand what is happening. But I think that is a gross underestimation of all what has been happening. A lot has been. I have always asked myself, what is Equinox doing? What is CRTV doing? Why have they not been asking the government of La République du Cameroon how many soldiers have died so far? Where are the mothers who have lost their sons? Can they investigate, go to the mothers that since their son went to the southern Cameroon, are they back? They should be pressing at Tanganji everywhere, bit by bit, little question on Facebook, on Instagram, on a newspaper, write it and throw the paper somewhere in the front of the government building. How many soldiers have died so far? That is where the real pressure would have become. These 53 soldiers that have lost their life, which they were not supposed to lose their life, is show resilience of our freedom fighters in the southern Cameroon. It shows that the hit on the La République soldiers has not stopped. I mean, we have reduced their so-called B to nothing. We have reduced their military. with all their scary uniform that they used to come, their tankers. Nobody's afraid of that anymore. We have reduced them to the point where they are really afraid to go out there. So I think that I keep on I'm keep on being tempted to say it's a very good thing, but it is so much an underestimation. We should not fall for even. We should ask more of what is going on. Ferdinand Gongo, we should ask more questions. It's just like somebody, Mr. Chris. It's just like somebody um, um having it's just like somebody keeping $100 million, and then they come to you and bring you a debate over $1 million. Then they start asking you questions around the what happened to the $1 million, this and that, this and that. But the money is actually $100 million. So now we are so focused dissecting this little piece of amount of money here when the big fish is already out here. How many soldiers have died so far in this war? The military has a system of keeping records. There is no military in this world. Speaking of a man like Dictator Pobia, who is always watching his back, is a very man who he's afraid of. Is a leader who is so much afraid. That's why you see so much fear in his leadership. You see so much fear in the country. That is why the soldiers will shut you off immediately you say something. Those are all signs that a leader is very, very afraid. These are very, very afraid. So a person like Pobia, a person with that kind of mentality of governance system will keep record on certain things left to eat the military and the B. Statistics is very important in running a military or a police or any organized association. They have those statistics. They know how many soldiers have been killed in Amberland so far. That is a bigger question. That is my response to all this, Mr. Chris.
And what did you make of the story relating to this Ghanaian minister picked up in Washington, D.C. Over immigration issues? But at the same time, the guy is being sought after by the Ghanaian government for corruption. This is a question of extradition. The question is whether the U.S. government is going to extradite him to Ghana.
Well, Chris, that's a very good question. First of all, we have to see if the U.S. has an extraditory treaty with Ghana. We'll start from there. However, they should also, before extraditing anyone to Africa, I think everybody who stole money and they're in the Western world running around and all those kind of things, I think that people like that who have been proven to have done such an act should be arrested and extradited to face justice in their homeland. However, the Ghanaian government also must be somehow, should I say, investigated or screened or whatever, to make sure that these accusations are not politically motivated. This African government, including Ghanaian also, you just can't take them for their word for what they say. There's a lot of corruption within them. They lie. Just see how Pobia was to how they were trying to extradite Issa Chiruma from Nigeria to Cameroon, to La République du Cameroon. You read that, you broke out that story here. They told the government that a fugitive criminal, there's a criminal somewhere that's a very dangerous man. He has done that, this and that. Issa Chiruma Issa Chiruma has his role in the corruption of La République du Cameroon and what that was happening in that country. But in the context of what they were saying, he was not that what they were trying to describe. So I think that should be screened. I think that if he's being sent back, there should be certain condition for him to face pure justice without that extra torture that they have down there and others. There are many ways that you can punish a person without going through all those inhumane treatment there. But I support that if all those things have been addressed and the money, he has stolen that amount of money, the United States to work in Ghana should get something. United States should get something from Ghana and they can send this man back there. I'm telling you, there might be political prisoners in Ghana. Maybe this is Trump's opportunity to say, hey, release these people that are there in exchange of this person or whatever negotiation. Now, don't forget one part about this so-called extradition is the money part. $500 million. If I don't think all that money is in the United States, and you said that the money was dispersed within him and his associates, so it's something that is spread around. Maybe some of the money is even in the pockets of Atanganji down there, because we know how these people work, or some other place. But I think that if that amount of money is in the United States, I really don't see how America is going to let it get out. That is the problem right there. America, the Western powers, or especially United States, a strong capitalist country like this, will not just leave $500 million get out of their economy somehow, some way there. And even if it gets out, they will rather sell you American goods. They'll say, all right, come and take this helicopter, come and take this car, come and take this arm. They'll sell you something than to just release that money like that. But either way, it's still a way to be done. This all that I've said here is not to underestimate the sovereignty of Ghana, and it's not also to wishy-washy. It's not also to it's not also to underestimate any two countries, these two countries that I've mentioned here. But I'm saying that such measures needs to be looked at before being done. But for the most part, if everything is done as I've said, all the T's and I's have been crossed, I don't support this man being in the United States after doing that. He needs to go back there. And he shouldn't always save time, but they need to also squeeze that money out of him as much as they can. He needs to pay back the government and the people of Ghana. I'll yield on that.
All right, thank you. Let me move to Mark Barita, who is joining from London. Good to have you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Comrade Comrade Chris Arno. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. I'm sure you listened to my reporting on the 53 on the killings in Cameroon by Amazonian fighters of the Cameroon army. 53. I mean, that's a huge number, considering that Cameroon has been preaching all along that the war is over, the hostilities are over or almost over, but within themselves, they are now talking about they need to re-engage with Amazonia to find a way to end the war, because within 4 months, September to December, they lost 53 soldiers, and these are consecutive figures. There may be more. What do you think is going on in their mind at the moment?
I think the first thing we should be able to understand is that the morale of Cameroon forces, the morale is very low, very low, especially after their sham elections where the elections were stolen. And because the military, who voted overwhelmingly for Chiroma, the military is quite aware that they have an illegitimate government. And that also has brought their morale down. And because of that, and also due to the intelligence of our forces, we see that our forces have now changed into a total guerrilla warfare, which protects more our people and harm more of the enemy. Someone, I think, historians always say, you cannot win a war in someone's land. No matter how sophisticated you are, groundwork you cannot do, because they know the terrain. And so 53 between September and December is huge. And that's why you saw that when they succeeded in ambushing our forces few days ago, is they were so happy. They had to share it far and wide, because it has been a long way. The published that this general has been killed. And because our forces also have learned from our collective mistakes, we don't see their faces anymore. We don't even know who is a general in which area, but they do exist because we don't see their faces anymore. And because of that change in in tactics, it has led to what we currently see. And for some of us, we think that for us in the diaspora, we have no choice than to build up ourselves and support whatever the boys, our heroes, are doing on the ground. And in terms of Cameroon wanting to re-engage uh, Amazonians because of that, I don't think that is true. That they have always said those things over and over and over. I think what is happening is that ministers within their means, maybe one, Cameroon is so much so divided. There are camps who want to engage, there are camps who don't want to engage. When certain persons within the military probably want some money, want to travel, they start saying, "Oh, you know what? I have links with this person. We can talk." They start developing projects and all those pre-term that they call it to siphon money. So, but for now, I think we on our part we are focused on the big game, which is smoking La Republique out of our land, and our fighters are doing a great job, despite what.
All right. Let me turn to Jocelyn, who is joining us also from Washington, D.C. or Maryland. To Jocelyn, it's a pleasure having you, sir. If you can bend your camera slightly, please. There you go. Okay, wonderful. What do you make of this development that the regime in Cameroon may now be rethinking the idea of sitting down to talk with Amazonian leaders over the death toll that keeps on rising within the Cameroonian army in Amazonia? What do you think about that? Have you heard anything, or what is on your mind about that?
Well, thank you for having me, Chris, and I hope you had a
Thank
good
you.
beginning of a year, and I hope that this year is going to be better for us and for everybody. Good health to you, sir.
Sure.
Yes, what I will say is that what I've always said is that actually the Ambazonia question, the Southern Cameroon question, has always been at the center of the chessboard if in Cameroon. So that's the thing, and that started way back when, since 2016 to since 2017. The Ambazonia question is on E4, D4, E5, D5. Those are the squares that are the center of the chessboard, and those squares are occupied by the Ambazonians. So the Cameroon has tried to, some leaders or some opposition leaders in Cameroon have tried to occupy the center, but it didn't work. Kamto, since 2018, when he won the election and could not actually make it a win for himself, he thought he was at the center, but he actually was not at the center. He is in F4, F5. And same thing now with Chiroma. Chiroma comes around and he also thinks he's at the center. And meanwhile, Sisuku and all the Ambazonia are waiting. They're not saying anything. Now, Chiroma also makes his noise and finds that he is in C4, C5. That's my positioning of the chessboard right now in Cameroon. So if Ambazonia is still at the center and has always been at the center, that's what it is. Now, it's only logical that the Cameroon government will try to revive, recognizing finally that the Ambazonia question is quintessential to Cameroon. I mean, I'm sure they've known that all along, but they've tried to ignore it. And now, after having tried Chiroma and Kanto and everything else, now they've come to realize that the Ambazonia question is at the center, so therefore we need to talk to them. So that's what I read. It's unfortunate that we have to lose 53 lives. Very unfortunate. Young people, I mean, not necessarily, but I would say 53 lives is 53 lives, and which we deplore, whether we are Amazonians or whoever. Everybody in the world, we don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to lose anybody. But it is unfortunate that they have to go through all that cycle to come around now and say, hey, yeah, we need to talk to the Amazonians. Duh, you ought to talk to the Amazonians.
So tell me, give me your take on this U.S. Ghana arrest in Washington, D.C. Do you see the U.S. extraditing this former foreign finance minister back to Ghana?
I think your former speakers on this show have actually been through all the situation and they've analyzed it well. They have analyzed it well. There's money involved. There is also a law involved. But there's also another point that you've seen this administration is very serious about. And they've said all the time, and they've said all along, and that the current administration have said that it belongs to the Africans to develop Africa, and which is a great thing. I think everybody should be taking care of his own responsibilities. And let's not forget that one of the tenets of the American civilization is personal responsibility of America. I mean, that's one of the foundations of America. You are responsible of what has been given to you by the Lord. So therefore, you should take seriously what you have to do, what you've been called here on earth to do. So I see that also that the Trump administration will try to also activate that that principle that it is a good thing that the African contribute to their own development. So that's something that we need to bear in mind in analyzing this situation.
So you think the Trump administration is going to say, okay, send him back to Africa, let him go and answer the charges there. If he wants to come to America, he can come after answering the charges?
Well, it's not only answering the charges. I mean, it's go back to Africa to develop Africa. So they may not put it in the way like answering the charges, but he's been minister in Africa. I mean, life in Africa is not only being ministers. I mean, life in Africa is being a mason. Life in Africa is being a carpenter. Life in Africa is being a farmer, and it's not just the government. As a matter of fact, the last thing you want to do in Africa is work for the government, and that's also an American thing. Individuals participate in their country, not just as government officials.
All right, thank you. Please, you guys, stay put. We're going to get into the main subject of the day in a few moments. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch your remote. Get ready. And the next subject is the great debate. Would you support President Trump picking up, capturing Paul Biya as he did to Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro? Would you support that? That is the subject of the debate that comes up right next. Don't go away.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and
Right,
dedicated
ladies
viewership.
and gentlemen,
offer
thanks
special
for
advertising
staying put
packages
our
during
day. At this moment, I bring you to this very special segment of this broadcast, the subject of which you find right there on your screen. They debate. Would you support Trump Maduroing Paul Beer? That means, would you support President Trump or any other strong man in that matter capturing or arresting Paul Biya for the freedom of the Cameroonian people? That is the debate we want to have at this moment. Please go ahead, hit your share button, let everybody out there know something is happening here. My panel, after I bring you my talking point on the subject, my panel will come in, weigh in on it, and then we will open the phone lines for your own contribution. So please, do not go away. Do not go away. Going to be right back.
Popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are very much aware of what happened last weekend in the between the United States and Venezuela. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, ordered the arrest and exportation to the United States of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. They gave so many reasons for the arrest and trial, which began in New York also a few days ago. The question is, Maduro was picked up on the pretext of being a dictator and somebody carrying drugs across the ocean to the United States. Of course, we also know the greater factor that led to his capture, which is opening the backyard, opening America's backyard to the influence of Russia, China, and Iran. When he was picked up, many people lamented and protested the arrest, saying a sovereign country cannot or should not get into another sovereign country and pick up its leader just like that. But the question is, you have so many dictators around the world, ladies and gentlemen, so many dictators around the world. Their citizens would want to see them captured, taken out. Consider what is going on in Iran at the moment, where for over a week, in multiple cities, the Iranian people have poured onto the streets demanding that the government steps down because that government is not only dictatorial, it has made life very, very difficult to the people. And so the people have poured out and they are begging. In fact, now the regime in Iran is accusing the United States, accusing Israel of being behind these protests in their country. So the question, my question that I would love everyone to answer today is, considering Cameroon, Paul Biya has been in power for 43 years. He has damaged the economy, and it has led to millions escaping the country. So the question comes, would you support Donald Trump to enter Cameroon and remove Paul Biya? Then let us begin with an honesty that many analysts dance around, but really confront head on. Almost nobody truly believes that the United States moved against Nicolas Maduro primarily because fentanyl entered American streets. That narrative may satisfy court filings and press briefings, but it does not explain the scale, the timing, or geopolitical urgency of the action of Donald Trump. The real story, uncomfortable as it may be to admit, lies in power, proximity, and security. This was geopolitics, pure and simple. Maduro was not removed for drugs. He was removed for geography and alliances. Venezuela, like Cuba, they sit in what American strategists have always called the backyard of the United States. The Monroe Doctrine may sound antiquated in polite diplomatic circles, but in practice, it has never been repealed. So when Venezuela and Cuba began tilting aggressively towards Russia, China, and Iran, the alarm bells in Washington, D.C. did not just ring, they screamed. They screamed. Russian military advisors, Chinese economic leverage, Iranian intelligence cooperation, oil deals structured to bypass Western sanctions. This was not abstract diplomacy. This was hostile power projection within breathing distance of the United States. Into that, the steady movement of Russian and Chinese naval assets, the comfort with which they move energy and military hardware across the strategic waters, and you have what Washington views as a red line crossed. What President Donald Trump fell short of saying clearly after he captured Maduro, but acted upon decisively, was this: Maduro had turned Venezuela into a forward operating platform for America's enemies, America's adversaries. That is what Trump failed to say, which is the simple truth. And let us be brutal honest. No great power apologizes for defending its strategic interests. To fault America for acting in its own security interests is not moral clarity. It is geopolitical naivety. Every global power does it. Those who pretend otherwise are either lying or afraid of confronting reality. Maduro was not an innocent victim of empire, of course, in this case. And here is where the analysis must refuse to become propaganda. The United States cannot carry all the blame, as some people want everyone to believe, because Maduro built the gallows on which he was eventually cornered. His rule was defined not by reform or popular legitimacy, but by systematic imprisonment of political opponents, the blatant election rigging, and institutional fraud, secret killings, and repression by state security forces. Economic collapse so severe it triggered one of the largest migration crises in modern Latin American history. The weaponization of hunger, fear, and exile as tools of governance. Had Maduro governed differently, had he allowed credible elections, had he tolerated dissent and respected the dignity of his own people, the world would never have fixed its gaze on him with such unanimity. This is crucial. It was not only Washington that indicted Nicolas Maduro. Britain, France, and effectively the entire European Union had long concluded that his regime was illegitimate. Sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and legal pressure did not emerge from American imagination alone. They emerged from a global consensus that Venezuela had been converted into a criminalized state. In this sense, Maduro was exposed not by his alliances alone, but by his own brutality. His embrace of Russia, China, and Iran merely removed the final shield. Perhaps the most inconvenient truth for critics of Trump's action is this: while much of the international commentariat condemned the arrest, Venezuelans themselves celebrated it everywhere. They poured into the streets, not because they loved American power, but because they had longed for the moment Maduro would finally be gone. They had voted him out. He refused to leave. Institutions failed them. Courts were captured. Ballots were mocked. Protesters were jailed or killed. They needed help. The people of Venezuela needed help, and help for years. And help, as history reminds us again and again, rarely arrives without strings. America did not act out of charity. Again, America did not act out of charity. Venezuelans did not rejoice out of love for American motives either. Each side pursued its own interests, and for once, those interests aligned. A win-win situation, however uncomfortable it makes moral purists feel. Now, the question turns southward, and southward to Cameroon. It brings us to the heart of the dilemma facing citizens of other entrenched dictatorships, especially the country of Cameroon. Would Cameroonians support a Trump or any external strongman, American or Russian maybe, intervening to remove Paul Biya? Or would they prefer to keep Biya in power simply because the liberator has interests of his own? This is not a theoretical question. It is painfully real. Paul Biya has ruled Cameroon for 43 years. He is now 93 years old. He has just begun yet another 7-year term, meaning that if he should complete this term, he would have governed for half a century, that is 50 years. Few rulers in modern history have monopolized power for so long without accountability. Paul Biya's record is devastating. Chronic election manipulation. Elections neither won nor lost. Merely announced. They are merely announced. The violent repression of dissent. A war in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia that has killed thousands and displaced hundreds of thousands. An economy that impoverishes the majority to protect the privileges of the few. A refugee crisis that has scattered Cameroonians, or say, put it this way, Ambazonians and Cameroonians in a ways, across Africa and beyond. This is not conjecture, ladies and gentlemen. It is documented reality. Like Maduro, Paul Biya refuses to leave even when legitimacy has left him. Like Maduro, he governs. Paul Biya governs through exhaustion rather than consent. Like Maduro, Paul Biya survives, not because he is popular, but because institutions have been hollowed out. It is no coincidence that the United States imposed targeted sanctions on Cameroon during the Trump era, the first Trump era. Sanctions that remain in force as of now. These measures did not emerge from nowhere. They reflected growing international recognition that Cameroon had crossed from flawed democracy into hardened autocracy. This is the question then. Does the interest of the liberator matter more than freedom? Does the interest of a liberator matter more than your freedom? Here lies the moral trap that Cameroonian citizens should face. Would you rather suffer under Paul Biya or risk help from someone with interest? Let's get it right. Before you attempt the answer, you must consider the fact that in this world, ladies and gentlemen, in this world, there is no such thing as purely humanitarian intervention. None. Zero. Not in Kosovo, not in Libya, not in Ukraine, not in Venezuela. Help is rendered when interests align, not when migrants move, not when tears are shed. This is stark reality. The only real question is this: should the interests of your liberator matter more than the freedom and dignity you enjoy after liberation? Think about that. For Venezuelans, the answer, at least in the streets, was clear. For Cameroonians, the question remains on the scale. Would you reject help because it is not pure? Or would you accept it because endless dictatorship is a slower, quieter death? The debate is not really about Trump or Maduro or even Paul Biya. It is about whether oppressed people are allowed to prioritize their freedom over the moral comfort of outsiders. Dictators love abstract sovereignty. Dictators love abstract sovereignty. Victims crave concrete relief. If Paul Biya were removed tomorrow by forces acting partly out of self-interest, few Cameroonians sleeping in exile, mourning loved ones, or watching their country decay would ask first about the helpers' motives. They would ask one question and one question only: are we finally free? That, in the end, ladies and gentlemen, is the question history remembers. And that is my monologue for this subject tonight. I will now get to my team of commentators here to weigh in on this subject, considering they listen to my monologue. All right. Pascal, let me start with you, please. Let me start with you. The question is, should Trump, Maduro, Paul Biya, would you support it? Should Cameroonians support a stronger power getting into Cameroon forcefully and ejecting Paul Biya as Maduro was ejected? Your thought, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chris, congratulations to you for coming up with a great word, Maduro. Should Trump Maduro Pobia. I put that thing in my status. Everybody, I had more commentators there that I've never had before. No, they were laughing and they were really giving credit. So I'm gonna credit you for that terminology right now. I'm gonna Maduro you. Should Trump Maduro Pobia. I think also when we started this show, you said this is a very great debate. I'm gonna give you credit too for that, using the word great debate, because that's what I was gonna say in my introduction as far as this topic is concerned. This is a very great topic of our time, and the reason why I'm just kind of giving this a little bit of extra little background in that it is what is happening here. The people of Southern Cameroon are changing the world geopolitics. Some people in this world, they are not only here for a purpose, but they are here to shift the world's paradigm to different level or spectacle or level, or change the world order. And I think Trump is one of those people in the position of that, because Trump presidency have really shifted the paradigm of the world. Maybe the way the world is going to be governed going forward, there are a lot of things that are going to be changed. And I say this strongly because 2024 was the year of elections. There was an article that out there, and I even shared it to all Amazonians, that 2000 article, the consciousness of the earth is going to change, because it was the world's 2024 had the world's largest number of elections in the history of humanity. So the paradigm, America, Europe, the whole Europe, Africa, South Africa, Britain, everywhere, the whole world, Russia, there was presidential election going on, South America. So I want people, by answering this question, I want people to just be aware of that something bigger is going on. Because, and I have all these experts online, they were talking about this, the prediction of things that was going to happen. So the effects of the shift of the paradigm of the world, including artificial intelligence, that also came now. The world is changing, things are changing. So when answering this question, we should put this in context. Now, go straight to the point. What you are asking me is that in order to answer this question, what we are actually answering is that when should a country lose its sovereignty? When should a leader of a country lose its sovereignty? Is it when the leaders get into drugs? Is it when the leaders started getting involved with drug traders? Is it when they collaborate with terrorists? Is it when they kill 100 of their own citizens, 1,000 of their citizens, 1,000,000 of their citizens, and send 8 million people in exile? When should the people of a country seek for outside help from their dictators? How does a government or a country get their power? Or where does the leader get their power? How does Paul Biya or Maduro, where do their power come from? Is it from God? Is it from the people? And how do you take that power back? By what means? So this is the questions that we need to answer, that we will be answering given this point. And if any response that I'm giving, there is still a broader aspect to it. In the case of Cameroon, or La République du Cameroon, we all know the history. Paul Biya has been there for 40 years, 43 years right now in counting. When Paul Biya came to power, Maduro was just 20 years old. Maduro was born in 1962, I think November 23rd, 1962 years. And in 1982, he was 20 years old. Biya is still there ruling, claiming that he won election. And Maduro has come from the bottom until he is now following Paul Biya's footsteps. So when does it end? When does the country loses its sovereignty? Eric Chinde was in your show last time here, somehow, some way defending the fact that other powers should not go into other countries and do other this and that, this and that. That is just another way of looking at it. But that is the world order which he lived in. So what I'm saying that the world order is changing. Currently, countries should have their sovereignty. People should mind their business. They shouldn't go into other countries and do other things. That is what people like Mobutu Seseko used to say when he was killing people in Zaire. When he come to West, when they want to interview, he said African problems should be dealt by African. They were so he talked about sovereignty. But for me personally, I think that I'm answering this. I'm giving this answer in the context of the change that the world should change. Sovereignty is overrated. Territorial administration or territorial integrity is overrated. About 50,000 Ambazonians. Let me say yes. We have thousands of our people have been killed in the name of territorial administration integrity. The goal is, what is territorial integrity about? All these rules, these laws, these countries, this border that we create, what are they about? They are for the people. They are for the great. They are to protect the people. These are all systems. Even the culture that we form, the culture, tradition, our way of life, the laws that we adopt, the boundaries or the borders. These are all designed to give life, happiness, progress, success to the people. But if this thing start to interfere with the very freedom and the life that we want for the people, it is time we cut off from them. It's time we say, no, there's another system that we have to do this. It's a time we say that, no, this is not right, let's do like this. A good example is culture. Some people think culture is set in stone. No. When a culture becomes harmful to the people, when a culture starts costing thousands of people's lives, when a culture starts creating suffering, then the people need to cut away from it. Slavery was once a culture. Colonialism was once a culture. Kingdoms was once a culture. But when people realize that because of kingdom, we cannot even eat a loaf of bread to survive, they took their king, put his head on the guillotine and cut it and said, to hell with that kingdom. So in the case of this democracy, some people might object that they should leave, and they should leave Venezuela the way it is, leave Southern Cameroon, leave Pobia and his people the way they are, let them kill, rot, and suffering. Usually, people who reject those things are people who don't really, number one, who have interest for things to remain that way, and number two, who don't really have the connection or understanding what these territorial integrities are all about, or sovereignty are all about. When a person start killing his people, when a leader has been in power for 40 years in the name of president, when he has been killing his people unjustly, when he has been locking up people politically for no reason, when he has been jailing thousands of young men who could be out there studying and becoming the future of the country, when they have continued to steal election, when you have presidential candidates running away out of the country for their lives, when you have people being poisoned, and all these things are happening in the country, I think that yes, it is for Biasu, Trump, or any other world power which fits the interests of the Southern people, whose interests correlate with the people of Southern Cameroon and their own. Pobia should be they should Maduro Pobia.
All right.
That is
Hold the point there. Let's bring in Jocelyn to give us his take on that question. Jocelyn, you follow the monologue and basically argue that the people who say, Trump should not have gone into Venezuela because it's all about oil, it's all about this. And I say, if your dictator is my dictator, you would be celebrating irrespective of the interests like the people of Venezuela did. What is your opinion there? Would you support a stronger power that goes in to free Cameroon, taking out Paul Biya, or would you argue that they will take our oil, they will take our timber, they will take this? What is your opinion, sir?
Well, thank you, Chris. But one thing we should remember is that the Venezuela incident, or let's say the Venezuela crisis, there's one aspect to it that maybe we don't talk a lot about. We should also remember that it was Judgment Day. You see, Venezuela was Judgment Day also. In the 2000, under Hugo Chavez, Venezuela seized oil projects that belonged to foreign companies, including Exxon, Conoco, the US companies. This was not a policy disagreement, it was just expropriation. Contracts were broken, assets were seized, compensation was never given to those companies. So Trump going into Venezuela was also to recover those assets. So it was Judgment Day for Venezuela. So Trump did the right thing going there because for that reason. Now, we talk about drought, but we all know that it wasn't really drought, and there was a lot of oil involved, as we all know, which is fine. But the connection with that with Cameroon is this: is that Venezuela is member of the OPEC. It produces oil and it distributes oil, and you know that OPEC has an oligarchy. They sit down and they organize not only the production of oil in the world, but also the distribution of oil. Okay, you're going to produce this many barrels and you're going to sell to this guy. They all know where the production goes. But now you have illicit oil trafficking, and I'm sure probably they're going to make a connection with that. The oils that are coming probably from Venezuela, and as a member of OPEC, which is also part of distributing that oil also illegally, Trump wanted to put a stop on that. So if it is discovered, as we all know, that in the west coast of Africa, a lot of oil is being sold on the street, on the black market, what is the origin of that oil? That's a good question. See, that gives another reason also why Trump could intervene to stop that illicit oil trafficking. Now, to answer your question more directly, I would say you need to look at is do we have the purpose, do we have the means, and do we have the goal? Now, the purpose is oil, as we established. Now, do we have the means? Another thing that we also neglect to observe is that there was not a military intervention in Venezuela as D-Day, for example, the debarquement on Normandy, right? It wasn't like that. They didn't bring thousands of ships bringing people on the shores of Venezuela. But what happened was pure intelligence. That was intelligence work. You see,
How do you relate
like
that to the Cameroon situation, to the Cameroon question?
well, a surgical operation. This is where it's going to be related to the Cameroon
It was all
situation.
intelligence, isn't it?
Well, this is, let me finish my sentence here. So it was intelligence in Venezuela, and it can also be intelligence in Cameroon.
Okay.
Because who owns the intelligence in Cameroon? Who owns the presidential intelligence in Cameroon? Who owns the military intelligence in Cameroon?
But
So
this
there
is
is only
actually
one.
about the Cameroon intelligence. I thought it has everything to do with American intelligence.
No, no, no. I'm asking who owns that intelligence? How does that intelligence operate? Who can control that intelligence? Because if you answer that question, who controls that intelligence, how that intelligence operates, then you see the similarity with Venezuela. because for the Venezuela case to happen successfully, there ought to be some kind of intelligence. Now, do we have the same scenario in Cameroon? Yes, we do. Yes, there is the same intelligence situation in Cameroon where the military intelligence, the political intelligence, all the intelligence in Cameroon is in the hands of somebody. So if you can
I
control
don't
that
seem to get the point you are making, because it is my understanding, of course, that it was the American intelligence that worked out the possibility of picking Maduro, not Venezuelan intelligence. Talking about Cameroon, you don't need Cameroon intelligence. You just need somebody, a whistleblower within, that furnishes American intelligence with where the beer is, what they are doing, what they are planning, where you will be on so and so day, moment. That's all that they need.
exactly, exactly. That's all they need. And what my suspicion is, actually, is not my suspicion. You see that in a lot of reports. Okay, you can see that Cameroon intelligence, Cameroon intelligence is not necessarily owned by Cameroonians, and that intelligence can be put to service to make your question a reality. The question that that is to answer the how. You say, should Trump Maduro be a? And I'm asking it by saying that, does Trump has the means to Maduro be a? And I'm answering that by saying that yes, the intelligence is there.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that Cameroon intelligence, and I repeat again, Cameroon intelligence is not necessarily owned by the Cameroonians. Does somebody has access to that intelligence that Trump can have access to? And the question is yes.
So essentially, your answer to the question, should Trump Maduro be a, is yes, it is necessary, correct?
My question to that is, of course, it is no one can tell what Trump can do. Okay,
No, no,
we
we
can
are
only
just,
analyze.
this is a
Yes.
rhetorical
Well,
question. It's not like
it is a
Trump is
rhetorical.
planning something. We are talking rhetorically.
Yes, even rhetorical is cannot be a clear answer. We all we can do is to analyze the situation and see the purpose, the why, the when, and the what. Analyze all that, and it belongs to anybody to check
Let's
all
put
those cases
aside
and say,
all that analysis. Sorry, let's put aside
yeah,
all that brainstorming, analysis. Let's look at the current situation. The people of Cameroon, it is established, they have suffered. This is a man who has never won an election nor lost an election. We know that.
Yep.
He has sent out hundreds of thousands of refugees and asylum seekers who are living abroad in Europe, in the USA. The economy doesn't work. People are crying. They want help. They need help to get rid of this guy. And so, left to you, just look at this simple scenario. If help were to come from the U.S., and of course the U.S. has its interest, would you say, no, let the people of Cameroon do it by themselves? I want you to answer that question very categorically.
well, Chris, like I said, it's the question is, should Trump Maduro be a? All right.
Yeah.
Should he? And again, what I'm telling you is that I answered the question. I answered the question by saying that yes, he has the purpose. Yes, he has the means. Yes, he has the why. And yes, he has the when. He has all those things. He even has something else that you didn't know here. He even has the judgment. Because, like I say, in the case of Maduro, a lot of people forget that many companies in the U.S. were disappropriated. I mean, the goods were stolen. So it was only appropriate that Trump goes in there and recover those goods. So that's a very important point. So what you need to do is then to analyze all those cases and then find out if it checks all the cases, and your answer will be yes. Like I say, analyze the cases again is what is the purpose? The purpose is oil.
Yeah.
Okay. There is also oil in Cameroon. There is a lot of oil trafficking, which is inappropriate for an OPEC member to be engaged in. So there's the purpose there. It is oil. There is illicit oil that is flowing around. Check. Do the US have the means to do it? They have the intelligence. As demonstrated in the case of Maduro, intelligence did the work. Can intelligence also do the work in Cameroon? Yes, they have that. They have intelligence. Okay? And I also told you already that goods were misappropriated, they need to be recovered. So
All
it's
right.
up to you now to make that conclusion.
All right, let's get to Brado. Brado, thanks for joining the show, sir. You've listened to my monologue. You have the question. In your opinion, comparing Venezuela and the people of Cameroon, two dictators, one is out, one is left. They say, well, the other one was taken out because the strong man had interest. He shouldn't have done so, they say. But in the case of Cameroon, would you support this a situation where a strong man, it can be Trump or any other person, comes in and says, Mr. Bia, you've suffered the people of this country for so long, we're going to take you out. Would you support that? Or you will cry, no, this is, they are just doing this for the oil, for the timber, for bananas. What would be your response here?
Thank you, Chris, for having me. I think I'm going to differ with the prior speakers. I would say no. Might should not take the place of what is right, irrespective of the current situation on the ground. Should there be an established world order that things are properly done within the ambit of the law? Because what we are asking here now, or encouraging to do, with the rhetorical question about should he Maduro Bia, if we say yes, what is going to stop him from Maduroing Putin? Are the people in Russia not suffering? Has Putin not been there for years? What is happening in the Congo? What is happening in Equatorial Guinea? Do we see the kind of chain reaction of disorderliness that could really engulf not only the South countries, but the weaker countries here on this earth? So we have to be very careful to make sure that, in as much as we are emotionally distraught with the treatment of beer against our people, but we have to make sure that we operate within the ambit of some semblance of authority, proper clarity. We can't just be cheering actions that in the long term they may become very disruptive in the proper way in which state affairs are organized. I agree that the myth of sovereignty is something that really needs to be properly reflected upon. But to just jump and begin to celebrate the actions that are not properly coordinated or decided upon by an order that has maintained peace for the last 50 or so years or 60 years since the Second World War is a very dangerous route to go by. What is going to limit only Trump? Should not be Trump. What if Trump is not here in the next 4 years? Do you want a leader like the Nigerian President Tinubu to decide? Because I don't know why you're calling Trump thousands of miles away. Nigeria is much more stronger than Cameroon. Should Tinubu come in and take out Bia and say we are running Yaoundé from Abuja, how comfortable will you be? Should you, in your own enclave, in your own smaller village, be comfortable with somebody living in a bigger village to come and take over your own village and say we are running your village from that enclave just because your people have suffered under your reign for this number of years? So, as far as BIA is concerned, for me, as somebody who has opposed that regime, I don't think that it should be about him. It should be about a system of order that needs to be promoted across the globe. So I would really argue with you that listening to your monologue, I won't jump on board to say Trump should Maduro, Bia, Maduro, um Obiang, Maduro, the one in Congo Brazzaville, is also 40 years in charge. Maduro, Putin, who is also more than 20 something years in charge. Where is that going to end? So we have to be very careful with these rhetorical questions.
Brando, I guess your
Next comment.
statement, hold on a second there, Jocelyn. Brando, I get your premise there, but it supposes that the world is just and the system is just, and let's just follow the order. You and I know it doesn't happen like that.
I agree. I'm not denying that the world is just, but where would you put an end to it? I just asked you a rhetorical question. Would you be comfortable that a bigger village in your subdivision should come in and take over your village simply because your people are crying that you are a tyrant? How would you address that? Because it is not just the short term of a lot of emotion that is and the excitement that we are seeing right now. The long term, this could be much more disruptive than it takes. Because if there's no higher authority that
We
is
are
going
not
to,
sure of the long run, though, right? We're not sure of
we
the
are not
long
sure, even
run.
the question
Maybe
that
the
you're
long
asking,
run may see a democratic Venezuela. We don't know. We cannot tell for now. But I
well,
think what is most
it's a
important
good
is the
place.
freedom of the people. Don't you see
I think
Venezuelans returning to their back to their country in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years and building their lives?
I think history also teaches us that you look from the rearview mirror. How is the situation in Libya going? How is the situation in Afghanistan going? How is the situation in Iraq going? Even the Democratic Republic
But
of
those
even
are
the
war
Democratic
situations. Those are
even the
war
Democratic Republic
situations. I
of
think we
Congo.
agree with that. But the Venezuelan
Let me
situation is different. This is a situation where a dictator is taken away, and the terrain set for a new democratic country. I think I won't judge it for now until I see 2 years,
So you're
3 years.
swapping. So essentially, you are just swapping the interest. Bia,
I
who has
really
taken
don't care
over.
about their
Let me
interest.
finish.
I care about my
Let
own
me finish.
interest.
Let me finish. You are just swapping the interest.
like quick.
One dictator taking over the interest, right? Bia has had that interest. Now you are comfortable saying that, okay, let's get another superpower to
Yeah,
take over
yeah.
that
I would
interest. That is
prefer
exactly what
another
you're saying.
superpower with their own interest than the man who has been there for 43 years, whose interest I know already.
And
But
what if you don't have, like what is happening in Venezuela right now? Is what happened in France during the Second World War with the Vichy government. You remember Marshal Pétain, right? That they said the Nazis set up a government in the Vichy government, and the guy was basically a puppet. So the day that you're going to oppose him, what will going to happen? If Trump
all
comes
right,
in and take over, the
you
day
hold
that you
your
oppose
thought there. You hold your thought there. I see Jocelyn nodding his head. I get to him, then I get to Pascal.
Okay.
Jocelyn, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, my brother, Brado. What I was going to say is that in the scenario that Brado described, is not Maduroing. So, Chris, you need to define the word Maduro. Should Trump Maduro be a, what
Should
does Maduro
Trump
means? That's
capture
what
Bia? Should Trump capture
well,
Bia,
no, no, no,
arrest
no.
Bia as he did with
Let me,
Maduro?
let
That
me
is
tell you
the
what Maduro
explanation.
is. No, no, no. Within the context of Venezuela, because My brother Brado says if Trump goes to RDC or goes to Chad, then in RDC and in Chad, we don't have all the elements of Venezuela. That's what Maduro means. Maduro means you need to take everything, all the characteristics of a country that has the characteristics of Venezuela and apply
Correct.
it. That's what Maduro means.
Yes.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
it's perfectly correct. Therefore, if you go to Chad, for example, does Chad has oil? No, Chad doesn't have oil. It was not the situation of oil. So therefore, it's not Maduroing. You see, if you go like the ridiculous example, I'm sorry, brother, the example that he gives to involve Putin, can Trump Maduro Putin? Please, let's not go there, okay? Because it's not the same. It's not the same game. So you're not going to talk about Trump Maduro. Please, let's completely erase that from this vocabulary because it's not the same thing. So therefore, you cannot use that word, apply that Maduroing for Putin. So in order to be so for something to be a Maduro case, you need to take all the essential characteristic of Venezuela. All the essential character is, and I told you that the characteristic of the Venezuela of Maduro means first, the oil needs to get involved. Oils need to be there. If you do something like in RDC, for example, I'm going to say, is there oil in RDC? No. There's gold and diamond, but no oil. So therefore, it's not maturing. So if you take me the example of another country, of another dictator, I'm going to ask you, was there a judgment that was passed for American enterprises, and Trump is just going there to recover assets that were stolen? If you cannot answer that question, therefore, it's not maturing. So we need to be careful. That's why I insisted before in breaking down all the cases, all the levels, or if you want, breaking down all the characteristic of what a Maduro case is. You see, and I did that, and I broke it down by saying that oil needs to be involved, intelligence and pure intelligence, control intelligence need to be involved, and also diaspora need to be endorsed. We need to also have a judgment assets that were taken from American actors needs to be involved. So if you bring all those things together, that's Maduroing.
Okay, maybe,
Let me come.
okay, hold on there. Let the Brado come in and
Let
respond
me.
there before I get
Yes,
to.
Secretary Chris, I am surprised for him to say that we should not get to Russia. That is just ridiculous for you to begin now to set boundaries. I ask the question: should might replace what is right? If you are going to subject the smaller countries to the mighty powers of the globe, the situation that you have in Cameroon that you are decrying, that situation is in Russia. The president has been there for years. Is there oil in Russia? Yes. And why are you limiting that only to oil? No. You have resources, natural resources, rare earth minerals that are going to define the future development of countries in this earth, not only oil. And I think we are a little bit short-sighted to think that it was only about oil. Besides, the US is number one exporter of oil. So it couldn't only be about oil in Venezuela. It is a layered situation that you cannot in any way, shape, and form settle on one single option that it is either drugs, it is either change or regime change, or it is about oil. That should be established that it is not only about oil. Oil could be part of it. So I would disagree with you that the question that Chris is asking is clear. We don't need to try to nuance it to maybe there are certain factors that are in there. It's about interest, and interest is not limited to oil. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, it could be the rare earth minerals. And you're seeing them making entities there by trying to reconcile Rwanda and Kinshasa. And then I pointed to other countries that take away Trump. Should Nigeria, would any of us here allow Nigeria to come in and take out Bia or whosoever is there and then tell us that they will be governing in Abuja? Is that a situation that you want to answer? Take Trump away from the picture, because what we're trying to do now is to say the mighty have the legal authority to come in, or the moral authority to come in a situation where a country has internal contradiction and maybe or instability, or the people are crying, to decide to dictate to those people that this is what is right for you people. I'm not arguing that if external help is going to come in through the people, that should not be accepted. We all need that help. But before we start bringing in external help, we have just seen the recently held election in October 2025, that even the Cameroonians themselves that we are now asking, because if I'm speaking here as somebody from southern Cameroon, I'm going to tell you that even the Cameroonians themselves, the people from LROC, have not demonstrated the stomach to say they want their country back. Because if they demonstrated their stomach that they want their country back, Biya cannot be above them to take him out. So we should slow down in the rush to embrace something that might end up becoming disruptive.
Brother, if I go by your point, I would say the same thing. The Iranians have again and again and again demonstrated they want their country back. They've not had the support they needed, and so when you say a lot of public citizens have not done the same, maybe if they did, nobody would have come to their help anyways. But let Pascal come in there and share his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for this moment. Mr. Chris, Mr. Brado, what I think is going on is that our brother here, Brado, is defending the current world old system that I'm talking about. And I made a statement about this, that what you are doing here, sorry, Mr. Chris, you are at a point where we're heading to a new world order. Brado is just still sticking to that old system that thinks that it provides order to the world. There should be a point. What we are saying is that we are going to an era where the current world order, where countries have sovereignty, a leader can kill thousands of people and claim territorial integrity, sovereignty, and all those kind of things that you are talking about. This was created by even by the leaders themselves, the elites themselves of the world. They sit in their United Nations. They came with that point. I bet you the average common person who is under oppression for 25 years, you hear people in Venezuela said they lost everything for 25 years. People in La Republic of Cameroon, even in Amazonia, have lost everything for 40 years. Where should they be? There should be a process whereby we are speaking now, moving into a new world order, Brado. There should be a process whereby the people can bypass the current dictator in their country and seek help for neighboring Nigeria. Say, take this person out, and that is what, and for in exchange for this and that. And we're not just saying that when they come, that's what's going to happen. But as long as we run nations with that understanding in mind, as long as we create that world order in mind, people like Maduro or like Pobia will cease from starting to existing. Even your own brother there, Sako, he's following the footstep. If we're in ground zero, how many people do you think would have died under his leadership? Because this is not going to stop. There are always going to be new dictators. You see, even in the middle of the Amazonian liberation movement, we are fighting for our freedom. We have new dictators popping up. So we are saying that the people should be able to have a way to consent to an outside bigger force to stop this thing. And even if you want to say that it's going to throw the world to order, my brother, that has been happening for a very long time. Ronald Reagan did it to Gaddafi in 1982. I hate to take this credit away from Gaddafi, but what you guys don't know, the irony of Gaddafi is that it was after in 1982 that then when Gaddafi sprung the development of his nation, when he allowed, we started doing oil deal with a Western oil company, and that's how the money started flowing to his country. He used that money he rightfully used it to develop his country, build everything. But Gaddafi used to torture people, suppress any dissent in his country for the reason that he had. I mean, he was trying to protect his country from Western influence. Gaddafi sponsored a lot of unfortunately for him, he went as far as sponsoring terrorist group across Africa, and the Middle East and all those stuff. That is where he got in trouble. Ronald Reagan had to, and the same characteristic that he was doing with Maduro. Ronald Reagan went in there and bombed his house. I don't know if it was his wife or his daughter. Between his wife and a child, one person died, and Gaddafi came to his senses. Maduro, Trump, and then there's another. Let's be real here. There's another misinformation going out there. I'm not going to stand there to be defending Trump or all this kind of stuff. But we have a media that does not like Trump. So that's why I encourage every people that when you hear stories about Trump, trying to screen it very well. American politics is very dirty right now. It's one of the most dirtiest politics, dirty area of American politics right now, that you cannot rely on the mainstream media to actually know what is going on, what is right, what is wrong. Trump did not just go into Venezuela like a wild beast or a power strong man who just wants to do whatever he wants to do. Maduro is a well-established criminal of the United States. Even Obama put a bounty on his head. Joe Biden put a bounty on his head. The American legal system put a bounty on his head for his role of the narcotics and different and the stolen of American goods, American oil companies that in the year 2000 under with Hugo Chavez, as one of our brothers mentioned earlier. We all know this story. Myself alone is not new into this problem. I live with Caribbeans here whose country are flocked with Venezuelans. They feel the pain on a daily basis. For example, Guyana, there are so many Venezuelans right now in Guyana, and people cry to me how their neighborhoods are congested. All the 8 million people have flown away, this and that. You want us to continue to remain under this system in the name of order and this kind of thing? The process of change have some little bit of disorder. You will see like a disorder, but that's not what it is. The people, like I said, all this power, sovereignty thing that we're talking about is created for the people. When it becomes this deadly to the people, when thousands of people are dying, refugees, women, children, men, young men locked in jail for decades for no reason, then we need an outside force. And the current United Nations, just to add one more point, the current United States, the current UN nation is designed to do just that. Do you know that, my brother? AU is designed to do just that. Maybe people like me and Chris or some of these people were in that AU will be more influential so much that the AU would have carried out some of those strikes like Trump does. That is what AU is about. But they don't do all those things. So this is not a lone. The world order is already set up the way Trump did what it is. But you don't have powerful men that can do something, can get together and go here and do this and do that. That's why when you see NATO goes and carry out an act, that's a coalition of people who agree that this person is this way, this way, this way, and that way, and taking and that's why you see NATO and other organizations. If African Union was as organized as NATO itself, some of these things would have been handled in just the same way. But I'm telling you that the millions of people cannot be under such
Secretary,
a
please.
condition. I will continue to maintain this kind of world order. Are you?
All
Can I
right,
respond to
yes,
this,
Brad will
please?
come in.
Yeah, Pascal, it is unfortunate that you sound a little bit gullible. Here in the US, when we talk about the mainstream media, Fox News, that is a right wing media, is the most watched network in the entire country. So the idea that the mainstream media does not report what Trump is doing is just far fetched and very, very untrue. Let me tell you that. And then go back to where you are arguing. You are instead arguing for us to reform the present system now. But should we proceed in that reformation in a disorderly manner? Because you can't say there should be a new world order, means you are talking about order. How is that order going to look? Because at a certain point, the old order that you think that I'm defending, no, I'm not defending that. I am saying that we cannot replace what is right with might, because that's what you're saying. Because, like I said, I asked you the question, why are you limiting that to Cameroon? Because we are from Cameroon? Yes. Is the people who have been arguing in Russia, for example, so many opposition leaders have been killed in Russia. Most have been driven out of the country. Should somebody like Trump go in and Maduro Putin? Don't limit it to the Africans. You want the case?
if the
No,
if
let
the
me finish.
evidence shows that the Russian people want
Please,
that, and
please, please,
if it's not going to be of a greater
let
problem,
me finish.
then Russia
Let
have
me finish.
enough
And
resources to
and
cause
and
a
now
greater problem.
and now you see that you begin to add conditionalities. If because in every one of those countries you're going to have those ifs. My advocacy here in this argument, should the
Brother,
present system be reformed and we proceed with caution. I do not
brother,
want a situation where anybody can get up anywhere, because that power is not only restrained to Trump. When it gets to your own where you do not agree, that's when you begin to realize that, where did we just get into? I am saying that in as much as we want the system reform from the UN to the AU, trust me, I detest those institutions because of their inability to even muscle or muster any muscle to impact some of these areas that where you need critical resources or her. But should we properly sit and analyze the situation, contextualize the situation before moving forward? That should be what we are advocating for. I'm not going to just jump up because of emotions and say, yeah, Secretary Chris, because he's stronger than you, should come in and decide on the way you're going to live your life. No, that is not something that I would want to embrace at this time.
That's not what
unfortunately,
we're
the
saying,
world
and
again,
that's what those
unfortunately,
dictators are
the
doing to the
world
people.
again doesn't operate
That's
that
what
way.
the
You have the
dictators are doing to
United
the
Nations
people.
with its Security Council. Once America vetoes, or the British vetoes, or the Chinese vetoes, the rest are powerless.
There
That's
is a
just the
reason for that,
reality.
right? There is
What
a
is
reason
that?
for that. Is there a reason for that? Why did they give five most powerful countries the power of the veto?
Well,
And
of course,
those
it
same
shouldn't be
countries
that
have been
way.
preventing you, the
That is
smaller
why we
countries,
say
from
it is
getting
not just. And
That
if it
was so
were
not
just,
just. There were other.
I will accept your point. Let's allow order, the UN, the AU to come in and do something. Unfortunately, you and
Well,
I know the AU is a lucky to the same powers we are talking about. But let Jocelyn come in there.
millions of people would die.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for giving me the chance to say something again. Uh, I was going to offer to put on the table that we consider another element in of this discussion here. Like we all pointed out before, we all say that Trump acted that way because Venezuela is located in the Western Hemisphere. We all cited the Monroe Doctrine and so on and so forth. Very good. Now, what my question now, and well, actually, my suggestion to put on the table here is, if Trump were to Maduro Bia, will he have the same latitude now that we have is not in his hemisphere,
That's a good question. I
right?
think that's a good question.
Because
Yeah.
because Cameroon, as we all know, Cameroon, as we all know, is a précaré, as they say in French, of France Afrique. They all claim that France Afrique is dead; it doesn't exist anymore. President
Jocelyn,
Macron
hold
say
on
it
there.
doesn't
Hold your
exist.
thought there. Hold your thought there. Hold your thought there. Okay, let's assume Trump or the US is not the one coming to Maduro Pobia. How about the French who have the sphere of influence in that part of the world? Would you allow them come in Maduro Pobia?
Well, exactly. Well, that's an excellent question. And then I will do the same analysis. I will say, are there any Cameroonian interests that was French interests that were seized by Cameroonians? No, actually, they own the entire country. You see,
So what are you saying? You are
because
saying you will not allow the
what
French
I
to
am
come in
saying,
a
But
Maduro
you see,
Pobia?
that's exactly what we say. It depends who is coming in.
Oh, no, you
it
Pascal,
guys
depends.
are too.
Pascal,
It depends on who is
on the
coming.
same on the same point,
No, you
It
guys are
depends on who
turning
is
it
Chris,
coming.
around.
It
Mr.
has to
Chris,
be the
Mr.
US.
Chris,
It
in the
has to
same
be
okay,
the
vein,
let me,
US for that
Chris,
to work.
Chris, Mr.
in
Chris,
the
let me
same
make a
vein,
quick
It has
Chris.
to
point.
be
Let me
the
make a
US.
quick point let me just make a quick
So
point.
let me get you guys right. Well, let me get you guys
Yeah,
right. What you are saying is that is with the exception of Brado. What the two of you are saying is any other country can come in and Maduro Pobia, but not the French.
but they are the problem. They are the main problem behind Pobia's what is happening in Cameroon right now. The French are the problem, and they could be better. I don't even know why they are doing all these things. They could be better. They could work with the Ambazonian people.
But the
And
Venezuelans, the
yes,
Venezuelans could say the problem in our country is the USA.
Absolutely,
They stole
absolutely.
our oil. They stole our oil, and that's what they still want to do at this moment. How about that?
they're all in. Listen, there's a good fraction of people in Venezuela who are pro-American, who want to work with America. In fact, the majority. And the Venezuelan oil industry was developed entirely by the United States. You have to put that in consideration. So it's not like the people of Venezuela don't really want nothing to do with the Americans. No, the people really do. The people of the people of the Cameroons don't really want anything to do with France. That's a fact. And Chris, please let me just slip in this thing that I forgot to
So,
add in
so,
is
so, so,
Ellen,
so, so what you
my
are
impression.
telling me is even if the French were to enter Cameroon, try to use force to save the people of Cameroon, and they say to Cameroonians, say, listen, this guy has been here forever, and he has destroyed your economy. We just want to help you take him out. You think Cameroonians will say, we should not give the French another chance? Is that what
I
you're
think
saying?
pretty much.
You
We
know
all know
that,
that. And pretty much.
and
Yeah,
you see that is
pretty much.
that is
And
a hypocrisy and a double face argument that we're having. Should China China Maduro the people in Taiwan in their own backyard? Since we're talking about the Monroe Doctrine, should China go to
Taiwan.
Taiwan? We do not want democracy here in our backyard, because the argument in the right-wing media is we can't have communism in our backyard. If you're listening to the echo chambers, should the Chinese go to Taiwan and also Maduro the democratically elected government in there? So that is why I was
no,
arguing
that would
that
depend on
it
the
should be
people there.
properly. Huh?
That would depend on the people there, the people.
Absolutely. You see where it's coming from. That's why I said when you begin
And
to
the
make these
people of
conditionalities,
listen, Mr. Tabanyang, listen. 100%, 99.9% of the people in the Cameroons, Ambazonia and Larpedo Cameroon, wants Pobia to be Maduro, okay? By Trump, even by Trump. That is what we are saying here. I understand your
Not
portion
by
that you're saying that it
China,
will bring
not by
chaos and all those
Russia,
stuff.
not
not
This
by
by
has
any
any
other
other
already been,
country.
country. They're
yes,
only
this
talking
has
about
already
Trump
been
because
happening. You said you said this will bring disorder in the world and all of that. This has already been happening. I'll give you examples here. You talked
I
about
don't,
earlier. You mentioned about Libya. You mentioned about Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan. And let me just tell you something. I've heard this argument multiple times online. What you guys don't understand is that you talk about America went to Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan. What you got to understand is that, do you know that Japan, all the countries that America has been in there, that America was given the chance to fully control, have become a developed world today? Singapore, Japan, South Korea, Puerto Rico, you can name them. Even South America is way much better off than the tropical Africa because of American influence. If America gets full hold of Iraq, or mostly 50 70% of Iraq, the average American person that I know, I've grown up with, and I've lived in this country for many, many years, more than most of us ever in here, they have the goodwill to make that place better. It will be way much better. Watch and see Venezuela if Trump fully have control of it. I know that he said that that was one of the slip of a tongue, but the day-to-day activity of Venezuela will be controlled by the people of Venezuela. I wish we had an authoritative figure of a country like the United States who could keep an eye on Ambazonia and say these leaders must carry out fair election, this and that, this and that. Somebody, a big brother or a big sister or big foreign representative that kind of watch the political situation in the country, right, like that. We have to give
I
something.
think, Pascal, what you are arguing is, I think we'll go back to the days where there were authoritative figure that promoted and caused slavery of the black race. Because at the end of the day, I
That
wouldn't
is
even
not
sit here
what we are
I
talking
wouldn't
about.
sit here,
That is
let
not
me
what we're
finish.
talking about.
Let me
No,
finish.
that's not what we're talking about. I'll request
I
you to
would sit
withdraw that.
here.
We're not talking about that.
I will not sit here and allow you to deface somebody like Gaddafi by you throwing out all those
I no, I
unfounded,
made when I
unfounded.
mentioned about
Let me finish.
Gaddafi, I
Let me
spoke it
finish.
truly. I said I don't want to take any
Let
credit
me
for Gaddafi.
finish.
I made a
Let me
statement that,
finish. You made
but
a
don't take me out
statement
of
here.
context.
you made a statement here that Gaddafi was exporting terrorism. I don't know how you define terrorists and terrorism. You seem to be consuming a lot of these Western talking points. You should understand why Gaddafi was taken out. You should understand properly as a Pan-Africanist. With this
I
argument,
understand the
with this,
context.
let me finish.
Listen, I'm not
Let me
supporting the taking out of Gaddafi,
finish.
please.
Let me finish.
I'm not
I am not
supporting it. But don't take me out of
responsible.
context. Go ahead.
No, I am not. Yeah, I'm not taking you out of context. I am contextualizing what you are saying. That I will not sit here and allow you to deface Gaddafi by throwing things like, oh, he was a terrorist, he was exporting terrorism, and all of that stuff. There is a reason why they took out Gaddafi. I think if you are honest to yourself, you would know why. And even the argument that American has not gone to Iran, that is just foolhardy. What did Jimmy Carter do? What happened in with the Iranian hostage situation? Did America not try to go out to Cuba? Let's not see all of these things and act as if we are not students of history. There need to be order. Is the present order working? The answer is no. Does that need reformation? The answer is yes. But are we going to allow the strong govern over the weak? Should might
With the consent of the weak, yes, with the consent of the weak.
Should yeah.
That is what is already happening in dictatorship.
Like what I'm saying.
Already happening in
Pascal, slavery was with the consent of the weak, right? Is that what you're saying? Slavery was with the consent of the weak.
That's why they call it slave. That is why they call it slavery. You see, you are contradicting yourself because there's no consent. Because
with the consent of the weak.
They call it slavery because there's no consent.
It was cast.
And let me tell you something. Wait.
It was cast as the most powerful coming in with the guns. What would make you think
without
that somebody comes in? I'm just asking you. Let me make it clearer to you. I ask you a simple question: should Tinubu in Nigeria come in and take over Cameroon, even if we realize the project Ambazonia tomorrow? Should we allow a powerful neighbor to come in that country and govern from their own capital with what the president is saying here? I'm not in opposition of the president. I'm opposing
Should I answer that?
Of the action that has been taken.
Should I answer that? Should I answer that? Tinubu is not qualified for that. Tinubu
Hold on there.
Tinubu has no record. Tinubu is not qualified for that. Tinubu will come around.
Why is he not qualified for that?
Because
why is he not qualified?
Because they don't have, as a people, they don't have a history of building a country as America. You have to get on.
There should be a start somewhere. How do you know?
Wait.
How do you know?
Speaking of Iran, when America
there should be a start somewhere.
Iran was. Well, let me just
Pascal, hold on. Pascal, hold on. Let me ask Brado, what if Tinubu is coming with his own interests, pure intentions to free the country like Trump? I mean, that's what we are talking about. We're not talking about handing the country to a dictator who rules it with a heavy hand.
Free. When you say free the country, and somebody is telling you that I am running the country from Washington, D.C., what is free? Do you really understand the definition of free? How do you really say the people are free when somebody is governing you from a foreign capital?
Say. You are blowing this thing out of proportion right now.
Why am I blowing it out of proportion?
Let me tell you, Tinubu needs to first stop Boko Haram in the northern part.
No. Forget about their internal problems. Okay. Because there are internal problems here in the US.
And let me just say this. Speaking of Iran was way better off than what it is today. The people themselves are saying it. If Iran was continuing under American influence with the Shah, they would have been way much better off right now. They are saying that the Iranians saying that.
History. Yes. The Iranians were colonized by the British, not even the Americans. So that politics in that region is as complex as you know. You cannot begin to choose and pick who should come in. We are talking about the might of these countries. No matter the internal problems in Nigeria,
we are talking about
there are internal problems here in the US that you might not be quite aware of.
All right.
There are internal problems here in the US that you might not be quite aware of. Nigeria. Should Tinubu come to Cameroon, take over Bia or Ambazonia, take over your own leadership?
Tinubu is not qualified, and we can.
All right, gentlemen. Let's give Jocelyn the last the option to respond, and after that we open the phone lines for our audience to contribute. Jocelyn, 1 minute maximum, please.
Another thing, I think I made that point already, but I'm going to emphasize that point again. To use to bring up the case of Chinubu going into Yaoundé and doing that is not the Maduro case. It's not the Maduro case. The whole world, the entire world, even in the United States, where there's a lot of reluctance against involvement in foreign wars. People have kind of said, yeah, okay, that's acceptable that we go into Maduro, into Venezuela, and did what they did. Why? Because it's not that the Americans are against wars, not completely against war. They are against prolonged wars. If you go into a war that would take 5 years and 10 years, like in the Bush era, they don't want that. But in the case of, for something to be a Maduro case, it has to be surgical. And again, I emphasize that word. Well, it has to be surgical. Otherwise, then it's not a Maduro case. What Trump did in Venezuela, that he went in, he did his job, and he came out in less than 48 hours. I don't know how many people were killed, but compared to the magnitude of the project, that was.
But Jocelyn, this is Brado's
so
point. Brado's point is.
Now, if Nigeria, the point is that if Nigeria were to go to Yaoundé, it would not be surgical. They're just going to be comment on appelle ça?
Jocelyn, this is Brado's point.
Because they don't have the means. They don't have the intelligence.
Jocelyn, this is what Brado.
And then a lot of people will be destroyed. A lot of people. But in the case of Venezuela, somebody came. Life did not even stop for a second.
Jocelyn, this is Brado's point. The point Brado is making is.
They came in, they did the job, they came out. Life did not stop for 1 minute. But if Nigeria were to go to Yaoundé, it would be.
Did you realize that Nigeria just intervened in Benin and stopped the coup d'etat? Did you realize that? That it was Nigeria who sent out military jets in.
Where? That is a wrong comparison, Brado, because yes, Nigeria intervened in Benin. Nigeria did not say. Nigeria did not say.
My argument with what he's saying, it is not right for him to say that Nigeria cannot do that. You don't know that.
Nigeria intervened in Benin. Nigeria did not say we are ruling Benin. From Abuja?
No. I'm talking about the ability to intervene, because that's what he's arguing. I'm saying about the ability to intervene, not about the government.
With the established
I'm just saying that very few countries, very few countries can go.
You can never rule that out. Our leaders were kidnapped in Nigeria and taken to Cameroon.
There's always possibility.
Our leaders were kidnapped in Nigeria and taken to Cameroon. Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya, surgically, and taken to Nigeria. You cannot say that they don't have the ability.
All right, you guys hold on there. We're going to open the phone lines now.
Very few countries. I'm not talking about going and kidnapping one person. I'm talking about bringing a whole armada and doing a whole. Please stop that.
All right. Let's get to the phone calls, please. Let's get to the phone call. We're out of time.
In less than 48 hours, not many people can do that.
All right, let's get to the phone calls, please. We are out of time here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the question remains: would you support Trump Maduroing Paul Biya? You know what that means. It means to pick him up, arrest him, and take him out, and allow freedom to ring or return in Cameroon. Or would you say, like some in my panelists have said, well, we cannot, for the interest of those countries, allow anybody to go in there to take out a dictator, in this case, Paul Biya. We want to hear from you. The phone number is right there on your screen. Before you call, make sure you turn down the volume of your television set. Focus on your phone, because when you pick the phone and your television set, the volume is turned up. I am hearing, when you call, I'm hearing you from your television set, not from your phone, and the call is delayed. I will not pick your call. So the phone number is there on your screen. Go ahead and call and let us know what is on your mind. I'm going to be right back in less than a minute. Please stay tuned. And if you are watching by YouTube, hit that like and follow button so you can get us every time we are live. You can get a notification. All right. I'll be right back.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
This is done great.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, you got the phone number there right on your screen. And the question is, would you support Trump Maduroing Paul Biya? That means picking him up, arresting him, capturing him, putting him in chains, and taking out of Cameroon for freedom to return to the country. That is the question we are discussing, and we want to hear from you. Again, the phone number is right there on your screen. Go ahead, call that number. Let's hear what you have on your mind. In the meantime, let me go back to my panelists. And Brado, I heard your argument. I think you are saying you will not allow Tinubu from Abuja to enter Ambazonia or Cameroon and take out Paul Biya and say you will rule Cameroon or Ambazonia from Abuja. However, that is a quite different case, a different argument, because Tinubu would not say you want to rule Ambazonia from Abuja, and Trump did not say you will rule Venezuela from America. He merely said we will manage the oil, restore it to its full capacity, and when that is done, we are also working on the democratic process. Now, those are apple and oranges when you compare Washington to Abuja. So I don't think your point is okay to suggest that Tinubu cannot go to Cameroon, take out Paul Biya. To me, for as long as the people of Cameroon are happy, they want it. I don't care. Okay. How about that? The opinion of the people.
I think that is the conundrum that we face between doing what is right and then the happiness of the people on the ground. But let me point you to President Trump's own words that they would run Venezuela from Washington, D.C. They will control the Venezuelan world from Washington, D.C. Those are facts, and those are words from President Trump. I'm not against the president. I am saying that the actions, we need to take this very cautiously, because if you're going to sanction that, then there is no reason for you not to sanction Tinubu doing the same in Cameroon. It's all a game of interest. What if the interest of Tinubu tomorrow is about Bakassi and the oil well in Bakassi? Have you forgotten that there is oil in southern Cameroon that Nigeria has once attempted to take it by force? Would that be the situation when tomorrow you have a president of Ambazonia that whosoever is in Nigeria can come in, pick up that individual and take them to Abuja and say, we're going to govern from Abuja and then control the resources of that country? Is that what you're asking for? And besides, we cannot keep arguing this whole thing about Tinubu cannot do that. It's all a game of interest. It's might, right? Because if the US was not strong, they would not have gone to Venezuela. Should China go to Taiwan and do the same thing because of their might? Those are the critical questions that, as intellectuals, we have to reflect upon, not just jumping into it with emotions. It's not that I like the BR regime, I detest the regime.
All
But should
right.
we engage in actions that are not right?
Brado, hold your point there. Let's get back to the phones and here get the opinion of our callers. Hello.
Yeah, Comrade, good afternoon and Happy New Year to you and all your panelists, members in the studio, and to all Southern Cameroonians. My contribution here is that we are talking about the Madurification of Mr. Paul Biya. The question one will ask is, who was Maduro and whose interest was Maduro saving? Once we get whose interest was Maduro saving, then we can also now appreciate the Madurification of Mr. Paul Biya. Mr. Paul Biya is serving the interests of those that put him there, meaning the Americans and the French. So the Americans cannot come into Cameroon to Madurificify Mr. Paul Biya, for he is their man doing their bidding.
Hold on there. Hold on there. The question is not whether they will come. The question is whether Cameroonians would be happy if they came.
I think Cameroonians have been clamoring for the Madurification of Mr. Paul Biya as far back 35 years ago. Cameroonians have been waiting for somebody to come and salvage the situation, to take out this monster. But unfortunately, because this monster was kept there by the powers that be, that is why Cameroonians have distanced themselves from him. But the powers that be keeps on appreciating and congratulating him after he fraudulently put himself on the throne of the people, making himself a monarch. He's no longer a president, he is a monarch. So Biya is not there because Cameroonians want him to be there, but he is there because the powers that be, the Americans and the French, want him to be there. Left to Cameroonians, Biya could have been not madurificated, but beatificated long ago before Maduro. The reason Maduro is taken out, the reason Gaddafi was taken out, the reason Saddam Hussein was taken out, because it was because they were not serving the interests of these guys. But Biya is serving their interests. Take into consideration the Chadian pipeline that runs to Cameroon is American interest, and who backs that interest? Biya. If America is bringing in another person, are they sure that person will back that interest of the Chadian pipeline that flows into Cameroon?
All right.
So it is a no situation for Biya. Is there kept there by the Americans and the French, so he cannot be madurificated.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. All right. Brado, and let me give all of you, please, 50 seconds. Let's round up. We are out of time. Just round up, please. Let me start with Pascal.
For me and Brado to be on the same length. Yeah. Mr. Brado, when you wrap up your point talking about, I would like you to also to confirm with me if you agree with my position of the new world order that I'm talking about. I think the current world order does not serve the interests of the common man, but the interests of governments or the big people in power. We need a system whereby when the people are sick and fed up of a leader or a dictator, they can bypass, maybe some kind of send out a vote somewhere to United Nations or something, and the president be Maduroed, okay? And being Maduroed is a very, very generous thing, you know. You just go and pick the person up and remove them out of the game. Yes, some other leaders, he was supposed to be killed on other different by some other leaders. They were supposed to drop a bomb in his home, but that did not happen. Trump actually went and picked him out of there. So that was a very generous thing that happened to Maduro. But again, we have more to discuss on this, and I think that we should have this discussion again, because this is opening doors for a lot of things to come.
Absolutely. Jocelyn, please, 50 seconds.
Well, I am very optimistic, and I've been optimistic since 2016 because when President Trump first came in 2016, he announced what the next world was going to be. It didn't start today. He said in 2016 in his inauguration speech that the world belongs to patriots. And that phrase still resounds or reverberates in my mind because that is so profound because he said again the world belongs to patriots. He was announcing that from today your world order that you're talking about that is diminishing or that is falling apart and so on and so forth, Trump announced it. He said that we were not going to do the world like the way we're doing it today, that the world is going to be for patriots. Everybody who is belonging and loving his own country, the MAGA people in the United States, the Ambazonians in Cameroonians, these people there, that world belongs to them. And that is very, very uplifting word. And I think that in that context, yes, anything can be done, even a Maduro case.
All right, thank you. Brado, the last word, 50 seconds, please.
Thank you, Secretary, again for having me. Thanks, Pascal and Jocelyn. I think I am not a reactionary guardian of the status quo, Pascal. If there's going to be reform, which is something that all of us, particularly Pan-Africanists, have been calling for a long time, there should be reform for the present world order. I can't sit here and say I'm comfortable with the fact that 5 countries have veto power in the United Nations almost 60 years after that organization was formed. And we, particularly the African countries, really have no say. So they should be reformed. These organizations should be reformed. The African Union should be reformed. You can't have an organization that has no teeth, a toothless bulldog that cannot solve its own internal problems. That we would be inviting Westerners or foreigners to come into the continent and solve our own problems. So we have to get to a point where we look at how do we resolve our own problems internally. Should the present system be reformed? Yes, overwhelmingly. Majority of the people in our generation would advocate for that. But should that be done in a disruptive manner? That is where I say we have to a little bit pump the brakes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for coming up and sharing your views on this subject. I think at the end of the day, it is all depending on what the people of Cameroon want, how they want it, not your opinion, not my opinion. We're just doing them service to maybe put these ideas on the table, and I hope that somebody can run with them. Thank you for joining the show. Look forward to having you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Good to see you
Thank you
guys.
for having me, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for tonight. I look forward to being back here on Monday with another edition of News Talk. I'm excited you tune in. For those of you who are out there watching the African Cup of Nations and couldn't watch this today, we will make sure that this is rebroadcast again and again and again and again until you all get it. In the meantime, let me remind you before I go, I have written and published a book that is coming up in a few days titled The Hypocrisy of the West. In fact, that book is already on Amazon as I speak. Amazon Kindle version is already there. The Hypocrisy of the West. Go there, you will find it. But we're still working on the hardcover edition. Thank you for joining the show tonight. I look forward to being back again on Monday. All right, you have a very, very gracious weekend.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you.
Then smart. Muna king fenge. Usari maribo. Wose se ku Joseph Woraboy. 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 That concept Grandago. Mukuba. Bate Amechi. Away. Peter Eno. Ancien driver. Murukwa. Aquaticaba. Eyon Atem. Wongweno. Aquaticaba. Arremoni. Wongweno. Wongweno. Aquaticaba. Etigenen Supadi. Wongweno. Murukwa. usare maribo bagabari bachasame kine bagabari bachasame kine bagabari otete baguma kama kangba pukwa kangba puku otete baguma kama kangba pukwa otete baguma kama kangba puku otete baguma kama kangba pukwa otete baguma kama kangba pukwa otete baguma kama Seseku, avoy, wongo no.